Good morning, sports fans, bettors, and cappers, and welcome to the weekday edition of the Competitive Hedge podcast. I am your host of the show, Kenneth, and thank you all for joining me here today. This podcast is all about sports and the world of betting. We talk about results from yesterday's games and wagers before diving into today's betting slate, and we cap things off with our daily betting card. Now, I hope everyone had an awesome weekend. We got up to a friend of mine's birthday over the weekend, ended in a casino trip, and a very tough Sunday. Getting old is tough, but we are back. We're ready to go for this Monday. And so let's start off by talking about our sponsor, Bet99. Bet99 is a Canadian sportsbook and casino that offers in-play betting, player props, cash-out option, and many more great products. There are a variety of sports available on the website to bet on, including NHL, NBA, NFL, and EPL. Bet99 works on both desktop and mobile, and their mobile app can be downloaded from the website's homepage. Now, depositing and withdrawing funds is hassle-free with a number of well-known methods available to use, so you know your money is safe and secure. The website can be viewed in both English and French, and customer service is available 24/7 with their live chat option. So go to bet99.com today to make an account. Use code SHOOTERSON at sign up, and please gamble responsibly. You must be 19 plus years of age to do so. And if you have questions or concerns about your gambling or the gambling close to you, contact Codex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. Now, let's talk about the weekend recap. We were 1-1 on Friday. Wasn't our best on that day. We were a little bit profitable on Saturday with our 4-4 record. And then Sunday, we only had the one play. As I said, we were out late on Saturday. Didn't get around to really diving into the slate, but we did have Purdue covered in college basketball yesterday. So really good start there. Now, let's talk about what happened yesterday in the NFL, because that's ultimately what's most important is the NFL playoff picture. So when you look at what happened last night, Green Bay, they lose to Detroit 20-16. Was a nothing game for Detroit at that when it comes to their playoff implications. Now, they did have a chance to go above 500. To credit to them for a great season coming up just short of the playoffs. But nonetheless, Green Bay misses out. Seattle gets that final playoff spot in the NFC. And then when we're talking AFC, New England lost yesterday to Buffalo. Miami wins, so they get in. And even the Pittsburgh Steelers won as well. So great season for Mike Tomlin once again, going above 500. Now, J.J. Watt, it was his final game yesterday. He finished with a couple sacks. Absolute legend, going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So shout out to him for a great recap to his career. But let's talk about what this means for the playoff picture. So in the AFC, you've got Kansas City, who gets the bye. You've got Miami and Buffalo as the 2 versus 7 matchup. You've got Baltimore heading to Cincinnati. And you've got the Chargers, Jacksonville. So AFC-wise, yes, Kansas City gets the bye. They were the best team all year. They probably have the MVP in Patrick Mahomes sitting there as well. Now, if we're talking about early betting lines for the playoffs, there's not a whole lot that I'm really seeing that I love. I mean, Buffalo, they're laying 10 points right now, which is very difficult, even at home, to bet that. Even move to minus 11. So we don't know who's going to be a quarterback. Unlikely to be Tua. So you're starting to look at, will Teddy be ready to go? Probably not. I forget who even started for them yesterday. That's how bad it is. Then you got Baltimore there, plus 6.5 taking on Cincy. Now, it sounds like they could have Lamar Jackson back for that matchup, but Baltimore going on the road and like almost a touchdown as underdogs there. And then the last one we've got in the AFC, got that Chargers and Jacksonville game. Now, I would imagine that a lot of people are on Jacksonville, given they're at home, they're coming off that win over the Titans. They also blew out the Chargers earlier in the year, so that will be an interesting one to keep an eye on throughout the week, with the Chargers currently -2 on the road. Now, NFC-wise, we got Philadelphia who gets the bye. We got San Francisco taking on Seattle now, Minnesota and the Giants, and then you've got Dallas taking on Tampa. So early on, San Fran, they're -10. This is a divisional matchup, though, so kind of like the points with Seattle right now. See how it moves throughout the week. Then you got Minnesota. They're only -3 versus the Giants. We know they played a game that was a 3-point game a few weeks ago, so I understand the line there. And then Dallas -3 on the road against Tampa Bay. That shouldn't be too surprising with how Tampa's looked all year. But that being said, it is Brady in the playoffs, so it's tough to get bet against the GOAT. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was it sounds like Fred VanVleet turned down a $114 million extension last summer. Now, we know a couple of years ago, right after what happened with Kawhi and everything, they went out and they re-signed VanVleet to a 4-year, $85 million deal. He does have a player option coming up this next season at 22.8 million. And sometimes betting on yourself makes sense. But Fred's coming off an all-star appearance. He's 28 years old, and he's got a skill set that it may last long term as an NBA player, but as far as an all-star player, that one I'm not too sure of. And given all the injuries that happened last year, I think that contributes to why he was an all-star. You look at this year, he's averaging just shy of 19 points per game, but he's shooting 37% on the year and only 32% from three. So Toronto has until February 9th to decide if they want to move him or if they should seriously consider it. I think that they should. If you don't get anything for him this year, you're certainly not next year. Expiring deals in the NBA, not a lot of teams are looking to get hop on board with those 1 year uh, season deals, and then you're going to have to go and likely extend the guy after that. So I think that if they're smart, they dump him at the deadline this year, even if it's not for a lot. Toronto's not going anywhere in the Eastern Conference, and certainly not with Fred VanVleet. So with that, let's talk about the daily game slate. We're going to dive in and look at all the plays for today. But before we do, let's play the video. With that, let's head over to the FA Cup. We've got Arsenal versus Oxford. Arsenal are -600 for this game. So you might be wondering, why the heck are you talking about this play today? Well, there's a couple things that you could bet on today. You could take the Arsenal -2. That one is sitting at -134, given that they take on a much lesser England side today. I don't even think this team is in the championship, so Arsenal should have no issues taking care of business. The question is, what sort of lineup are they going to roll out? FA Cup obviously matters to them, but they may not need their starters in order to go and get this win. It looks like they could be taking on Manchester City in the next round of this competition as well. So I do like this one. If not, then maybe the both teams to score as a no at -134 also has some value there if you trust that they're not going to go and score at all in this game. So I do like those couple of plays. Now, NBA wise, bit of a lighter slate today. It may not be a long show today, just given there's not a lot that we really love. But NBA wise, there's 6 games happening, 3 that are worth playing, 3 that we don't like. New Orleans and Washington, no Zion or Ingram. Larry Nance a game time decision, and no Beal for Washington either. I just think it's a bad spot overall. Same with the Spurs and Memphis. A lot of injuries here. No, Jakob Poeltl and Kevin Johnson are both game time decisions. No Devin Vassell. Also looks like John Morant, Steven Adams, and Brandon Clark are all game time decisions. So that's a stay away. And then at least for now, the Lakers is a stay away. You got Braun, Russ, game time decisions. No Reeves or Anthony Davis. So I would expect Denver to cover that if those guys don't go. But as of now, we'll wait and see what happens there. So 3 that we do like, Bucks and Knicks. Milwaukee is -2.5 tonight. No Ibaka, RJ Barrett is a game time decision as well. You've got Milwaukee, who's not great on the road, and then the who aren't great at home. But head to head, they have gone under in 5 of the last 7 games. So I am expecting a lower scoring game, especially since those underlines or the over underlines have been around 215 to 218. We're seeing 221.5 right now. So I would go at the under now. Before that line moves, I would imagine that was even last night's line. If I go and check it now. I would imagine that line has dipped even a little bit. It's down to 221 even. So I like the under there. Chicago and Boston, it's 8.5. Look like Boston, they're 12-8 against the spread at home this year, whereas Chicago, they're 10-9-1 on the road. Chicago, they play better basketball than Boston. I never thought I'd hear myself say that this year, but they've won 7 of their last 10, including 3 of their last 4 road games. Chicago's also covered 7 of the last 8 games head-to-head against Boston, so I think the plus 8.5 might be a nice play today. And then Orlando, they're taking on Sacramento, and if I'm being honest, I kind of like Sacramento spread today at -6.5. Orlando have been good against the spread on the road this year. They're also 3-2 in their last 5 road games, but I just think Sacramento, they've won 3 in a row head-to-head and 4 of the last 5. I like them to cover at -6.5. NHL-wise, we've got 4 games happening tonight, and we're looking at 2 of them. 2 are fading, Seattle and Montreal. Well, they just burned me against St. Louis the other day, despite having only 2 wins in their last 10 games. But when I look at this, I also don't love the juice here on the Seattle side. I do think that you could look at the regulation if you really want to, but I'm going to stay away from this one. Nashville and Ottawa is the other one. Nashville, they're playing much better. Head-to-head, I don't love this one because Ottawa's actually done fairly well head-to-head, and it's kind of a juiced line, so I'm staying away. Philly versus Buffalo is a game that we're looking at. Buffalo have won 8 of their last 10, but Philly have won 4 of their last 7 road games. Buffalo have won 3 straight home games, though, so it's one thing to be concerned about. I think if you're going to play anything in this game, you play the over because it's gone over 7 straight games. And then the other end play would be Edmonton and the Kings. Kings are -115 at home, and they look much better than Edmonton right now. They've won 7 of their last 10 overall. Edmonton, they're coming off a loss to Colorado and lost 3 of their last 4 overall. What I like in this game today is I like the over. The Kings have won 3 of the last 5 head-to-head, and they have gone over in 3 straight in this matchup. So really like this Kings line. College basketball-wise, we have one ranked team because we haven't seen the AP poll today. New Mexico's likely going to drop out with their 2 straight losses, but they're taking on a Red Hot Oral Roberts team. Now, I think if you're playing anything today, you're probably playing the over because you got 17 combined overs in the last 27 games. And that when you're averaging over 82 points per game. Not against stellar either, why 161.5. I really hope to see this line dip at least a little bit before tip-off. If I can get this down to 160.5, maybe even into the 159s, I feel really good about it. But as of now, we have it at 161, so we're staying away from this game. But all of this really doesn't matter because tonight, the game that everyone's going to be watching is that number 1 Georgia Bulldogs team at -13 taking on TCU. That line overnight dropped down to -12, but TCU is coming in. They knocked off Michigan in the semis, and Georgia edged out Ohio State. Georgia, though, they've only covered in 2 of their last 5 games. A lot of the public is on TCU tonight. 73% of the bets are on TCU. And so I do believe that TCU is going to keep it close. 2 scores, though, that's a lot of points on the Georgia side of things. I hate going with the public when you have that percentage of bets, but I do think that TCU has a great opportunity to cover tonight. May not be an official show play, but we do have a play from that game that we'll be getting to right away here. And so with that, let's get into our last 12 pick segment. This is sponsored by Last Mountain Distillery. And so let's just get right into our plays. Having some video issues this morning. We're going to start out with that FA Cup game. We're going to do the both teams to score as a no at -134. I think that Arsenal, they're not going to have their best squad out there today. They're on the road, which is always worrisome in soccer, but I think they're the vastly better team. I don't think Oxford's going to create many chances in this game. And so I think at -134, you got great value there for them not to score. Then Philadelphia Flyers and Buffalo were taking the over in that game at -115 for a unit and a half. As I said, they've gone over in 7 straight head-to-head games. They've also got Samuel Ayerson in net for Philly, which is huge. If they do go to Carter Hart, we might see this line move a little bit. But as of now, it looks like it's going to be Erson. Then you got Luka in net for Buffalo. Not a great option for them. And so he's giving up over 3.5 goals per game. I think we see a 4-3-5-3 type finish. so I'm hammering the over tonight. College basketball-wise, I'm going to go and play Colgate once again against the Army Black Knights, over 153.5 at -110. This is a single unit play. Colgate cashed for us last week. They're averaging over 80 points per game, and they've hit the over in 10 of 15 games overall this year. Army, on the other hand, they're averaging over 76 points per game, and they've gone over in 8 of their 14 games this year, including 3 of their 4 at home. Defensively, neither team is stellar. So I think while 154 might be a little bit tight, one of these teams is going to go over 80 and the other is going to go over 75. So I feel good about this play at -110. And then to cap it off, we're going to play TCU's Max Duggan over 1.5 passing touchdowns at -115 for 1 unit. TCU, they have a team total of 24.5 tonight. So if they are going to cross that team total, Duggan's going to be a big reason why. I think he throws a couple touchdowns tonight. So really appreciate what he's done this year with TCU, and I think that they're going to keep it close. Let's get a Max Duggan night tonight and have a great national championship. Appreciate everyone who tuned into the show today. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the competitive Hedge.